We have a public hearing on the change of rezoning from B2 to B4 at 1403 North Truman. We have any remarks from the audience? Go ahead.
My husband and my name is Michelle Cato Schwent, and my husband and I own 1401 North Truman Boulevard, which is the building adjacent to, and how that building got two street addresses, I'll never know, but there's one building with the street address of 1405 and 1403. The door to 1403, which is where the zoning request has been changed, was designed by the initial architect because we built the building as a fire exit. There is no parking that is owned by that building visible to the naked eye if anybody walks in to that door at 1403. And they're trying to turn it into retail space. The only, if anybody drives up and wants to go into 1403, the only parking that's visible is my parking on the 1401 parking. So the signs aren't adequate. There's in that building to direct anybody to the parking. The only parking that 1403 building would have would be around and to the back of the building. And everybody would be parking on my space. Also, so we're against the zoning because we think we're going to be covered up on our parking by their customers. And the only other thing I can say is that, you know, I don't think there's adequate parking in that building to accommodate a retail car dealership, which is what this guy's wanting to do, because there's a 5,000 square foot approximately medical clinic on the upper floor with a full-time physician. In fact, I think there may be 2 physicians and a chiropractor practicing out of there. And also now they're wanting to do a car dealership in the building. I just don't think there's adequate parking that building owns for this.
All righty.
Okay,
All righty.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Is there any other comments? Could you state your name, please?
Yeah, it's Mazen Geith. Yeah, so I wanted to do the zone change to B4. I'm not exactly sure what she's talked about before. I kind of missed the first half. But yeah, we counted up the parking spaces. I believe there's 34 parking spaces. And I also found out on the side where the door opens, I believe 2 of those spaces are supposed to be ours, but they're wrong on the map. And we have an easement for that. It was part of the easement in the original contract. So actually there are 2 parking spaces visible from our door, which people could park at and walk straight down to the door. And then as I previously mentioned at the last meeting, there is the sidewalk that connects to the rear, which has a like a walkway for it with significant signage to point somebody in the right direction to come down to that back door. And there's a large row of spots in the rear that would easily, I mean, you can easily tell they go with that sidewalk. They're right there and the sidewalk points right at it. So yeah, that's there. And Mondays and Fridays, I believe the chiropractor's there. And the physicians see a lighter load that day, and our main physician's there Tuesdays and Thursdays. So they're there on completely separate days. So the traffic's much lower versus where if you had them all on the same day, obviously it'd be pretty busy. And then you might have an argument that there's not enough space. But today was a fairly regular day and not even half the parking spots were taken up. And that's with staff and including patients being seen by the physician throughout the day. So yeah, I think we have plenty of parking, very adequate, 34 spaces. Maybe 15 of those are being used at a time at most. And we still have another half of a parking lot. So.
All right.
Cool. That's all.
Thank you for your comments.
Yep. Thank you.
Can I respond to that one comment? Just a quick response. To my knowledge, the 4 spaces on the side of our building is our parking. And there are no stripes, nor is there any adequate space for parking adjacent to the 1403 door.
All right.
In my opinion, looking at the parking lot, being familiar with it.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? If not,